In this video, we will explain how to name and write formulas for binary ionic compounds. We will start with a simple example, BaO. Look at your iron sheet and find Ba on the cation side. You should find barium, which has a charge of positive 2. Look for O on the anion side, and you should see that it is oxide, which has a charge of negative 2. The charges cancel out to 0, and the name of the compound is barium oxide.
Some elements can have multiple charges, called ions. When an element is an ion, it needs a number to distinguish the charge that it has. This number is expressed as a Roman numeral, written in parentheses after the name of the element. The only elements in ionic compounds that do not require Roman numerals are any elements in rows 1 or 2, and silver, zinc, cadmium, and aluminum. We will now name a compound that requires a Roman numeral. When you look up FeP on your ion sheet, you should see P is phosphide. However, you will also see that there are multiple irons. In order to determine which iron to use, you have to look at the charge of phosphide. The charges of both ions must add together to equal 0. Since the charge of phosphide is negative 3, the iron that is correct is iron 3. So the name of the compound is iron 3 phosphide.
The next example is SN3N2. On the ion sheet, Sn is tin and N is nitride, but tin needs a Roman numeral. To figure out which tin to use, you have to look at the charge and number of nitride and multiply them. The charge of nitride is negative 3, and there are 2 of them. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. In order to make the charge 0, the charge times the number of tin atoms has to equal positive 6. There are 3 tin ions, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the correct answer is tin 2. The name of the compound is tin 2 nitride.
Now we will move on to writing formulas for names of compounds. First is lithium fluoride. Look for lithium on the ion sheet, and you should see that the symbol is Li and it has a charge of positive 1. If you look up fluoride, you will see that it is F with a charge of negative 1. Since the charges are already balanced, the formula is LiF.
Now we will do an example where the charges are not the same. Calcium nitrate is made up of calcium with a charge of positive 2 and nitrate, which has a charge of negative 1. First, find the symbols on the ion sheet, which are Ca and NO3. Since the charge of calcium is 2, the charge of nitrate has to be negative 2. Because the charge of nitrate is originally only negative 1, there has to be 2 nitrate ions. The formula has to be written Ca parentheses NO3 parentheses 2. There has to be parentheses separating the anion and the number of anions to clarify that there are 2 full nitrates and not just more oxygens.
We will show an example of translating a name with Roman numerals into a formula. In copper 2 sulfate, the Roman numeral indicates that the charge of copper is 2. The symbol for copper is Cu. When you look up sulfate on your ion sheet, you will see the symbol is SO4 with a charge of negative 2. Since the charges of the two balance to 0, the formula is CuSO4.